Hey guys, Drewski here. I know we're all pretty excited for Bad Batch Season 2, but some jibhead from Dinklebird's Gmod TTT asked me a dumbass question. Noober is his name. He asked me, where did those white guys come from? The ones that work for Darth Vader? Obviously, he hasn't seen Star Wars. He told me this, but I'm still going to answer the question for those. I think everybody knows, but I'm still going to answer the question. Basically, they started out as clones, but they got phased out for human conscripts shortly after Order 66. And you might ask me, what was Order 66? And basically, it was when the clones turned on the Jedi after Emperor Palpatine gave out the order, and it went through their inhibitor chips. And that's what happened in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. They all just kind of killed most of the Jedi, and now there's not many left during the original trilogy and afterwards. It's important to note that the stormtroopers aren't the primary fighting force of the Empire. That's really the Imperial Army. They're just an offshoot of that. Stormtroopers are basically like military police or Marines, kind of a mix of the two. Because what a lot of people don't realize is why their armor is white. It's so they stick out and so civilians can see them easy and come to them for help if they need it. I don't think that's ever really said anywhere in any of the books or comics, but I think that's kind of an obvious assumption to make. Their armor is made of an energy-resistant plastoid used for resisting low-powered blasters, and you wonder why all these blasters shot by the rebels, they penetrate the armor and kill the stormtrooper instantly. But these are high-powered legal firearms, they're military grade, and they can say an AR-15 can shoot through someone a lot easier than a 22 or a 9mm. But 90% of the handheld blasters on the civilian market, I doubt they can shoot through Imperial armor. And that's mainly what it's made for, because they don't run into these big guns all the time. They mainly run into, thugs on these backwater planets, and they have these small firearms, and they can't shoot through that Imperial armor. That's also why it's so sought after on the black market. It can resist small arms fire, and that's the main opposition. It's just not really shown on screen. It's also shown they can't really take direct hits from big rocks or sticks, as shown in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, because the Ewoks just easily kill them all, which is kind of insane, but I don't care at this point. Something I really like with the newer movies and shows is how they humanize the stormtroopers and show that it actually is just human conscripts in them. Like when those two stormtroopers who are capturing Grogu, they conversate about Moff Gideon killing a ton of his own troopers, and they're kind of scared. And I think it's really cool when they give a faceless villain more of a personality and shows that they are human. Something else important to note is that there was a lot of animosity between clone troopers and stormtroopers, or the clone stormtroopers within their ranks. Each of them thought the other one was inferior to them in most circumstances, and sometimes that is shown on screen and in books, which is pretty cool. It's a cool concept. It can be very similar to real-world values, which is kind of unfortunate. And these parallels are kind of what draw people to Star Wars, I think. And a lot of parallels can be drawn to the Empire and the, Germans during World War II. The German shock troops, they were also called stormtroopers, and I think a lot of people know that at this point. I'm not really going to elaborate it on further, but it's just something to know. After Order 66 and the clones, they were under the Empire and not the Jedi. They can be seen using more brutal tactics now that they aren't really hindered by what the Jedi can tell them to do. They don't really practice as much restraint as they should or used to, which really shows how much of Jango Fett's DNA is in them. Also, this is something I should add because Noober probably doesn't know who Jango Fett is. He's basically the bounty hunter, the father of Boba Fett. His DNA was used to make the clones and was altered a little bit to make them more docile. And another clone was made, it's identical to him, and that is Boba Fett. It's his son. And after Jango Fett is decapitated by Mace Windu, they start running out of the DNA to use for clones. And so it gets a little more complicated, and I think that kind of adds to the fact and reasons that they got rid of the clones after Order 66 or began phasing them out. Some of the clones defected after managing to get rid of their inhibitor chips, doing these botched surgeries, not botched, but kind of bootleg, dangerous surgeries into their brain to dig the chips out and destroy them. Rex did this with Ahsoka. She got the chip out, and so he's no longer, with the Empire. He kind of defected, which I'm sure all of you are aware of. He is a main character kind of in the Bad Batch, which I highly recommend. It's a sequel to the Clone Wars, basically, which is another kind of good show. A lot of the episodes are really good, but a lot of them also don't really hold up to the standard. But I really enjoy it. Currently, I'm rewatching that. Anyways, Noober, I hope you answered that question, and I do hope you check out Star Wars. Thank you all guys for watching, and stay tuned for future videos.